Oh no, this one's a bit too spooky for Santa season. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's time for that weekly Mod Collection Demo Shop update, and we're going to start with Ruthless Red Satin. It's gotta be one of my favorite offerings from the Mod Collection in a while, so it takes the Widowed series that we're familiar with, but dials it up just a tad. So we have a perimeter red burst with our matching red binding, but then everything has been blacked out. But someone at the Mod Collection must not like the original Widow idea, because it doesn't go far enough. So we have red lettering on our poker chip and a red switch tip. This works incredibly well together, especially when they tie that new theme onto the headstock. So normally a red Widow would look like this. Do you notice what they changed? Besides the satin finish, it's our truss rod cover. Instead of having the white outline layer and matching lettering, they also gave the red treatment here, and I just love the script font in red. It looks very spooky and evil. This one should have been released around Halloween time. And then as far as the back, they did everything. You've got the perimeter burst body, neck, and headstock, and sprayed over Gibson Custom Shop logo. Personally though, I can't wait for the day that they actually introduced colored binding, because these are just sprayed over red, which to somebody who's not familiar with that, they might think this looks a little cheesy and not as good. It'd be cool to have the full-on red fret nibs and the sides. But that one was offered at $6,100 and unsurprisingly found a home. But our next one looked a little bit familiar. They named this one Lavender Trance. It's a 57 reissue. It's just a really nice sparkly purple. Where have we seen that before? That's right, I have one in my shop, and we documented it in this episode right here. It's just such a beautiful guitar. It has a nice subdued lavender sparkle finish, but my absolute favorite thing about this one has to be the fretboard. It's just gorgeous. So now we come over here, and this is also a 57 reissue. It's just a newer one, but they dialed it up a notch. So we've got the addition of marbled purple pickup rings with pole pieceless pickups, straight up gold hardware this time with our knurled knobs. But it's this next photo where you can really see what they did. That's just straight up glitter flake on top of all the colors within the finish. I'm kind of scared this one might be a little bit too over the top in person, but that's exactly what this piece is for. And sadly, it's just not the same without the streaky fretboard. But they did a complete refinish on the back as well, throwing on the cream back plates. But then there's one more thing they changed. Look at our headstock. No Les Paul model silkscreen, we've got a ruby North Star thing. Now, if this could have been mother of pearl abalone combination with like some red mother of pearl or something stained, that would have been insanely cool, but that just looks painted on. So not quite as cool, but I like what they're doing. They're trying to experiment. Kind of a shame that they just gave you a Gibson USA case with it, but at $5,700, it's still looking for a new home. Now we have another Tealburst Les Paul Custom, and this was a running theme this week. It feels like we're going back to like the launch time period of the Mod Collection. So we've got Tealtallic Burst, but we're seeing a lot more custom color customs again. It's refreshing because it used to be every week we would have a unique custom, and I'd be buying one every 2 or 3 weeks just to document because they were so cool. So this one, you got that bluish green, but it does appear to be a perimeter burst. We'll adjust the contrast so you can see that. But you've got the gold hardware. Kind of reminds me of the Phantom Custom, but maybe just a bit darker. But unfortunately, it's just a straight up black back. And they didn't do anything too crazy with our headstock. But whoa, I'm kind of surprised that one sat. But how about Plumblast Metallic? It's a 50 standard for a very small premium, but this finish definitely plays in the light. You can tell how it's going to go from light to dark in person. No pickguard, golden speed knobs. Our headstock was left alone, but how about the back? It might just look all black, but adjust the contrast. They did put a red stinger on it. So that makes it worth it in my opinion. But here's another dark finished one, Bearheart Brown Metallic. It's offered up at $3,100. It kind of reminds me of like an oil finish, or like Fender's Texas T that we documented in this episode. So if you always wanted that on a Gibson, this is probably as close as you'll get for a while. And oh, that's a shock. It even has the matching headstock with a completely refinished back. Another shocking one that's still available. But how about Graphite Jazz? This time a 60 standard. It's kind of like the old Les Paul Modern Graphite Metallic finish, but on a different model this time with chrome hardware and our top hat style knobs. But no matching headstock or unique finish back this time. But you know what? Having the metallic top and the straight up black back and sides actually works pretty well. But if you're in the mood for a special, how about Blueberry Frost? They took your pickguard, got rid of it, and reshot it in blue and gave you some black plastics. But whoa, hold the phone. Standard fretboard? Nice. I didn't notice that on launch day, so instead of dots, you've got the trapezoids. Then they're using up an old special truss rod cover. You don't have your silk screen. Got the mother of pearl logo with our black tuner tips. The back was also done in blue. If this was a gloss refinish, I probably would have considered reviewing it. I'm curious, what would it look like with a black pickguard? And then one USA Epiphone in the mod collection this week in cool cyan. I like the way that you can still see the maple wood grain underneath this. I would love to see a production level guitar have something similar, because you don't see transparent metallic finishes very often within Gibson's catalog anyway. I like that one. But sadly, it was just the top that was refinished. It's a natural back and sides with our usual headstock. So that wraps up the USA side of things. Now we can check out the European mod collection. They still have quite a few of them to choose from, but the newest ones being offered over here is Superb Purple. It's a Les Paul Custom. I didn't think it was that long ago that we saw this one in the USA shop. It's quite attractive. We got the metal toppers over top of white pickup rings, so that's going to look great at the side profile shot because you're going to see the white knobs, the white edge of the binding, the white pickups, the white rings with the white tip, but then you got the nice dark metallic purple with the chrome hardware really popping. And on top of that, it looks like it's going to be a natural back and sides. That's a really nice piece. And they even played with our headstock a little bit with a white truss rod cover. And its original demo shop serial number 56. Then we've got Bubble Mint 50 Standard. Similar vibe on this one, except it's a solid green top. If you adjust the contrast, you can actually tell that's a red pickguard, tortoiseshell in style. You know, now that I'm seeing it, I'm not sure those colors actually work that well together. But the nice ambered over gloss finish on the back looks really good. I like how dark that neck is. Yeah, we've got a regular headstock. And lastly, there's just a Silverburst custom. Looks like they toyed around with our pickup covers a little bit. Otherwise, pretty basic. But alright, that's what they did. They put a black bridge and a black tailpiece to give you the mix-match chrome black, trying to mirror the finish. But if you're going to do that, you need to do it to the tuners and everything else too, like we saw on the Guitar Center limited edition rose gold finish, and or when they first did that in the 70s with the 25 50th anniversary Les Paul. They did that on the tuners, the tailpiece, and a few other locations. But now let's talk demo shop, European and UK. Unfortunately, another week of no updates for those guys. Perhaps that's a good thing though, because that might mean they have less B-stock inventory that they need to list. Or maybe they're just on vacation. But USA side demo shop, we've got a whole lot to talk about. But first off, a lot of the new listings were not actually put on the various sales that they're running alongside Reverb right now, but many things are still on sale at the shop. And seeing as some of these have sat for a little bit, maybe you could message them and get a better deal, I'm not sure. But hey, we are down to just one page, so they have sold through quite a bit of stuff. But this is one of my favorite new offerings this week. So we documented all the new custom color series guitars in this episode, but I like this unique top on this translucent fuchsia. It's got like a really hard wood grain line right here, and maybe it's not traditionally beautiful, but it's an interesting combination of grain and flame. It makes it unique. If somebody steals your guitar, even if they refinish it, as long as you can still see the wood grain, it would be identifiable. And then you get a little bit of ringiness on the back. But that one is offered at $2,400. Also for the same price, if you want something a little bit dialed back and more what you're accustomed to seeing, this Tobacco Burst Standard is just great. It almost gives you book matched like vibes with these little dots right there, but obviously not a perfect book match because that's not what Gibson's trying to do. Then we've got our natural back and side. Here's another one for the interesting category, Standard 50's Faded Vintage Honeyburst. I like the fact that this side has good flame. But then this one's just, again, wood grain, but then you get a little bit of flame right there. It's another one of those character pieces. Like, is it gonna win any competitions for its top? No, but it's so homely and beautiful. You gotta love it. The colorations on the back of the mahogany is pretty unique too. Then I wanted to share this VOS 64 reissue 335. Not because the top or anything else is really that special. This is one of those, why is it in the demo shop? It's this. Do you know what that is? It is not the fret nib chipping off, it's the finish has chipped off. So you can actually see what color the binding is underneath the finish. Kind of interesting. Next up, one of the hand select 50 standards. That's gonna be a great top in person. And now our Iced Tea Burst. It's on sale for $2,100. It's ringy. I just wanted to share it because sometimes this finish comes across as like greenish. It's not what I normally think when I think about iced tea. But this Les Paul Classic sold rather quickly. It's just a nice red color. But I appreciated the wood grain on the back of this one. And last, but certainly not least, kind of an interesting reverse chevron flame top on this Tobacco Burst. Like, it's not the most angled pattern in the world, but it does just kind of come down at a slight angle, and then you get a bit of a dead spot before you get more flame. This has a very early 80s aesthetic to it. That is a very thick border. I wonder if they were trying to hide like some mineral spots in it when they were spraying it, or perhaps we're just thinking too far into it. Alright, Troglodytes, that wraps up our recap for this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day. And you might even enjoy this next one.